Good morning everyone. Welcome back to Janatha College online classes in Botany for +1 class. In the last class we studied about the classification of organisms by Aristotle, then Linnaeus and finally Archibald. In his 5 kingdom classification we studied the first kingdom, that is Monera, then Protista, fungi, plantae and animalia. In the last class we discussed about all the characteristics of kingdom Monera, that is the bacterial kingdom. Today we shall see the second kingdom, that is the kingdom Protista. Okay. So I think all of you are familiar with the kingdom Monera, that includes all the prokaryotic organisms and all the organisms are unicellular. And in the kingdom Protista, we are going to study about the organisms. They are unicellular and eukaryotic. All the eukaryotic unicellular organisms comes under the kingdom Protista. Eukaryotic aayittulla true nucleus containing true nucleus ulla unicellular organism, the organism which is made up of only one cell. So these all organisms are included under the kingdom Protista. Okay, and so they may be photosynthetic or some of them are non-photosynthetic. So when we look into the classification of Protista, we can see 5 groups. They are chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans. So what are the groups? Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans. So let us see the first one, that is chrysophytes. Chrysophytes are the organisms which includes the major organism, that is diatoms. So diatoms, that is the sole members of chrysophytes, and it contains desmids also. Desmid is otherwise called as golden algae. Golden algae. So desmids and diatoms are the members of chrysophytes. Okay, and they may be freshwater or marine. Freshwater, that means the usual freshwater. Then marine water means sea water. Okay, the habitat of the chrysophytes, they may be freshwater or marine water. Then about the structure, it is also microscopic. So microscopic because it is unicellular, they are microscopic and they will move along with the water current. Where the water moves on the along with the water current, it will also moves. So it is not having any other structure for the movement. Then about the shape, it is its structure is as the soap box. We know that soap box contains 2 pieces, right? So this one piece and above that we can see another one piece. So that is the structure of a soap box. So this is the structure of what our diatoms. The structure of a diatom is like that of a soap box. So it contains 2 pieces. And the cell wall is deposited with the silica. The cell wall of diatoms are having the deposition with the silica, and when the diatoms will die after billions of years, it will get accumulated at the base of the sea and that becomes a rocky substance, and that is called as diatomaceous earth. You know that the diatoms are very minute substances, minute organisms, and its cell wall is deposited with a substance called silica. And after the death of this what chrysophytes called diatoms, they will get accumulated at the base of the sea, and this accumulation leads to formation of the diatomaceous earth, and that will take billions of years. ഒത്തിരി വർഷങ്ങളെടുത്താണ് ഇത് ഫോം ചെയ്യുന്നത്, diatomaceous earth ഫോം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. And this diatomaceous earth, that is very useful and that is used to polish works. For the polishing works it is used, and also used to the filtration of syrups, filter syrups and oils. So the diatomaceous earth, that is used for the filtration of syrups, and also it is used for the polishing works. Then these diatoms are the chief producers of the ocean. Ocean ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതലായിട്ട് ഫുഡ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാറ്റഗറി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ ഡയാറ്റംസ് ആണ്. So these are the characteristics about the chrysophytes. I'll tell you once more. Chrysophytes, they include diatoms and desmids. Desmids are otherwise called as golden algae. Diatoms are the sole members. Then they are present in fresh water and also marine water. They are microscopic and move the help of water current. and its structure is like that of a soap box. So this is the structure of a soap box, and we can see the two pieces in the cell wall of diatoms, and this cell wall is deposited with the silica, and after the death these diatoms get accumulated at the base of the sea, and that forms a structure called diatomaceous earth, and that will take billions of years for the formation of diatomaceous earth. The diatomaceous earth is used for the polishing work and also for filtering of syrups. Then the diatoms are the chief producers of the ocean. Ocean ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ food produce ചെയ്യുന്നത് diatoms ആണ്. Then the second one, that is dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. Di means two. Dinoflagellates. Flagella, it is the locomotory organ, locomotion or movement. So the structure which helps for the movement, that is the flagella. We studied in the lower classes, we studied about flagella, cilia, like that. So many structures we studied. In this category they have flagella, and there are two flagella is present in a single organism. That is why this group is given the name dinoflagellates. Then the two flagella which is present in the dinoflagellates, and they are marine and photosynthetic. They are present in marine environment and they are photosynthetic. Marine means what? Present in sea. And photosynthetic, they have the ability to prepare their food material by using light energy, and they are having different color. The difference in colors, that means yellow colored dinoflagellates are there, green colored dinoflagellates, then brown colored, blue, and also red colored dinoflagellates we can see. So differently colored dinoflagellates are present in the environment, and the main component which is present in its cell wall is cellulose. The dinoflagellates are having the cell wall deposition, that is the cellulose. And I already told you dinoflagellates are having two flagella, and these flagella are arranged, one flagella is arranged longitudinally and another one is arranged transversely. So two flagella are arranged in the body, one is arranged longitudinally and another one is arranged transversely. And next point is very important. What is red tide? So red tide means, I already told you dinoflagellates having differently colored, and the red colored dinoflagellate that will multiply vigorously. It will multiply continuously, and that will completely spread over the sea, and when the tide will be there, on that time we can see the tide in red colored. Okay, so the tide will be seen in red colored, and that is having highly poisonous dinoflagellate, that is red dinoflagellates that will divide vigorously and spread over the sea, and on that time we can see the tide in red in color, and that is called as red tides. And that red tides forming dinoflagellates are very poisonous, and that leads to the killing of fishes also. And example, Gonialex is a red tide forming dinoflagellate, and that is having highly poisonous substance. Red tides means dinoflagellate അതിൻ്റെ ഫേവറബിൾ കണ്ടീഷൻ എത്തുമ്പോൾ, റെഡ് dinoflagellate അതിൻ്റെ ഫേവറബിൾ കണ്ടീഷൻ എത്തുമ്പോൾ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ആയിട്ട് മൾട്ടിപ്ലൈ ചെയ്ത് ആ സീൽ മൊത്തം ഇങ്ങനെ സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യും. ഓൺ ദാറ്റ് ടൈം റെഡ് ടൈഡ് അടിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് സീൻ ഇൻ ദി റെഡ് ഇൻ കളർ. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദി റെഡ് ടൈഡ്. പോയിസണസ് ആയതുകൊണ്ട് ദാറ്റ് വിൽ ലീഡ്സ് ടു ദ കില്ലിംഗ് ഓഫ് ഫിഷസ് ആൾസോ. സോ എക്സാമ്പിൾ Gonialex. So that is the characteristics of dinoflagellate. So what we studied dinoflagellate, it contains two flagella, it's marine and photosynthetic, then it is having differently colored yellow colored dinoflagellates, green colored, then brown, blue, and also red colored dinoflagellates we can see. Then their cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is present in the cell wall of higher plants. Then that is having two flagella, one is arranged longitudinally, another one is arranged transversely, and during some time the red dinoflagellates will multiply vigorously, and that spread over the sea, and when the tide forms, we can see the tide in red in color. So that is called as red tides, and that is highly poisonous and cause causes the killing of fishes. Then example, gonalex. So these are the characteristics of dinoflagellates. So we studied chrysoflagellates. Its cell wall is deposited with the silica, and in dinoflagellates its cell wall is deposited with the cellulose. So next one is the euglenoid. Third category that will comes under the kingdom Protista are euglenoid. From the name itself we can find out that the one organism, right? Euglena is one of the organism which comes under the euglenoids. So what about the characteristics? So first one, they are present in fresh stagnant water. Fresh water, and that it's the stagnant water. Stagnant water means കെട്ടിക്കിടക്കുന്ന വെള്ളം. മഴയൊക്കെ പെയ്ത് വെള്ളം കെട്ടിക്കിടക്കത്തില്ലേ? So in that stagnant water, and also in the pond also we can see the stagnant water. ഒഴുകി പോകാത്ത കെട്ടിക്കിടക്കുന്ന വെള്ളത്തിലാണ് കൂടുതലായിട്ട് euglenoids കാണുന്നത്. Okay, and it lack cell wall. It is do not have the cell wall, even though they are having a protein rich pellicle. Instead of cell wall, it contains a protein rich pellicle. So you have to study carefully. In the first case, it is having a silica deposition in its cell wall. Second one, having the cellulose deposition in its cell wall. And the third one, it do not have the cell wall, even though the body is having a protein rich pellicle. Protein rich pellicle. Okay, and euglenoids are also having two flagella. Here also we study two flagella, and here in the euglenoids also have two flagella. One is short and another one is long. The flagella, it's not equal, it's unequal in size. One is short and another is long. Okay, and about the characteristics, whether it is photosynthetic or heterotrophic. So listen here, when there is a light is there, when the light is there, they will act as the photosynthetic. പ്രകാശം ഉള്ള സമയത്ത് ഇത് photosynthetic ആയിട്ട് ആക്ട് ചെയ്യും. It's a very wonderful characteristic of euglenoid. പ്രകാശം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മാത്രമേ photosynthesis ചെയ്യത്തുള്ളൂ. If the light is not there, in the dark it will act as the heterotrophic organism. If the light is not there, it will depend on other organism for their food. So that is a wonderful characteristic. So the light ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ it will act as the photosynthetic. If the light is not there, it will act as the heterotrophic. So that is a characteristic of euglenoid. And example, from the name itself we will get the example, euglena. It is so it is considered as an animal with the chlorophyll. euglena usually പറയുന്നത് an animal with the chlorophyll എന്നാ പറയുന്നത്. സാധാരണ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ഒക്കെ ചോദിക്കും, give an example for an organism which is considered as an animal with the chlorophyll എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ സാധാരണ പറയുന്ന ആൻസർ ഏതാണ്? euglena ആണ്. So this is the characteristic. First one, it is present in fresh stagnant water. കെട്ടിക്കിടക്കുന്ന വെള്ളത്തിലാണ്. It is do not we can see in what flowing water, and it do not have the cell wall, contains only a protein rich pellicle, contains two flagella, one is short and another is the long one. Then if light is there, it will act as the photosynthetic one, and if the light is not there, that means in the dark it will act as the heterotrophic. And euglena, that is an example for the euglenoids. Okay, so next one is the slime mold. Slime mold, they are saprophytic. The whole majority of the slime molds are saprophytic. So this is a new term for you, saprophyte. So saprophytes means the organism which will consume dead and decayed organism. They will depend on dead material for their food. The organism which depend on dead material or dead decayed material for their food is called as saprophytes. Okay, and how they will move. Here we studied flagella for the locomotion. Here also we studied flagella for locomotion. In the first category, we studied that they will use the air current water current for the movement. തിരമാല അടിച്ചു പോകുമ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ കൂടെ അത് പോകുന്നത്, അതുപോലെ വെള്ളം മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് it will move. But here there is a specialized organ is there called flagella. In the third category, they are not having a special organ. They will engulf material and move. So they will use they will engulf the material. Dead and decayed matter is engulfed by the slime molds, and like that it will move. Okay, and here we have to study one thing, that is the plasmodium. During the favorable condition, this slime molds will grow vigorously and grow up to several feet. So that structure is called as what? Plasmodium. So what is plasmodium? During favorable condition, the slime molds the microscopic slime molds will grow into several feet, and that aggregation of slime mold is called as plasmodium, and during unfavorable condition from the slime plasmodium it will produces the fruiting bodies. Okay, during the unfavorable condition it produces the fruiting bodies, and at the tip of fruiting bodies it produces spores. At the tip of fruiting bodies it produces spores. And what are the characteristics of spores? Spores are having thick wall, and they will survive for many years, and they will disperse through air. Okay, so these are the characteristics of spores. Spores that is produced at the tip of fruiting bodies, and fruiting bodies are formed from the plasmodium during unfavorable condition. Unfavorable means there is the scarcity of food, and environmental conditions are not favorable for the particular organism. On that time it produces the fruiting bodies, and at the tip spores are produced, and the spores are have very thick walls, and they can survive for many years and dispersed by the air current. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the slime molds. So first one, saprophytic, engulf material. Engulfing means what? വിഴുങ്ങുന്നു. So fully it will move and engulf the material, and during the favorable condition forms the aggregation called plasmodium, and unfavorable condition produces the spores. So these are the characteristics of slime mold. So we studied about the chrysophyte. It have the locomotory organ. It's a cell wall deposition also studied. Here also locomotory organ is there, cell wall deposition, and here locomotory organ called flagella is there. Cell wall is not there, but instead of cell wall, protein-rich pellicle we can see, and this one, what it slime mold, it will move by engulfing the materials. So next protist category is the protozoans. Protozoans, all the protozoans are heterotrophs. They may be predators or parasites. They may be predators or parasites. The protozoans are heterotrophs. They may be predators or parasites. Predator means they will catch the prey and eat that prey, and parasites means what? They will live on other living organism and causes damage to the host organism. Parasite മറ്റ് ജീവികൾ ജീവിച്ച് അവയിൽ നിന്ന് ന്യൂട്രിയൻസ് അബ്സോർബ് ചെയ്ത് ഇത് ജീവിക്കും, മറ്റ് ജീവികൾക്ക് ഹാംഫുൾനെസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കും. ബട്ട് ദ പ്രിഡേറ്റേഴ്സ് എന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ദേ വിൽ ക്യാച്ചസ് ദി പ്രേ, മറ്റ് ഓർഗാനിസംസിനെ പിടിച്ച് ദേ വിൽ കൺസ്യൂം. സോ ദാറ്റ് സച്ച് ഓർഗാനിസംസ് ആർ കോൾഡ് as predators. So in the case of protozoans, they will act as predators or parasites. Okay, then they are the primitive relatives of animals. അനിമൽസിൻ്റെ റിലേറ്റീവ്സ് ആണ്. അതായത് നമ്മുടെ കിങ്ഡം പ്രൊട്ടിസ്റ്റ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ദേ ആക്ട് as the link between kingdom plantae and fungi and also അനിമൽസ്. ഫംഗസിനും പ്ലാന്റേക്കും അനിമൽസിനും ഇടയ്ക്കുള്ള ഒരു ലിങ്ക് ആയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ കിങ്ഡം പ്രൊട്ടിസ്റ്റ ആക്ട് ചെയ്തത്. ഓൺ ദാറ്റ് വേ ദിസ് പ്രൊട്ടോസോവൻസ് ആർ കൺസിഡർഡ് as the primitive relatives of animals. Then the protozoa are again divided into 4 categories. They are amoeboid protozoans, then flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans, and sporozoans. So there are mainly 4 types of protozoans are there. What are they? Amoeboid protozoans, then flagellated protozoans, ciliated, and sporozoans. So first one is the amoeboid protozoan. So where we can see the amoeboid protozoan, they may present in the fresh water or marine water or in the soil which is having the moisture. So they may be freshwater forms or marine water forms or in the moist soil. Then they have the locomotory organ called pseudopodia. It is not an organ, its cell is having some extension, protuberance is there, that is called as the pseudopodia. In the amoeba we studied in the lower classes we studied. So this is the structure of amoeba. It is having the nucleus also, and some in its body surface we can see the projections, and this is called as pseudopodia. So this is the locomotory organ in amoeba. And the amoeba, which is parasite, which will causes the disease to the humans. Example, Endamoeba histolytica. Endamoeba histolytica is an amoeba which will causes the disease to the human. So it is a parasite in the human body. And the marine forms of amoeboid protozoans, the marine forms of amoeboid protozoan is having the silica deposition in its body, in its cell it is having the silica deposition in the marine forms of amoeboid protozoans. Then next is the flagellated protozoa. They are free living or parasite. They can see as the free living organism, or it can be seen in the other organism, or it will live in other organisms also, that is the parasite. And as the name suggests, they are having the locomotory organ called flagella. The flagellated protozoa having the locomotory organ called flagella. Then example is a trypanosoma. So I told you it may be act as a parasite, and a trypanosoma is a parasite that will cause the sleeping sickness. That disease is caused by the flagellated protozoa called trypanosoma. So that is the characteristic about the flagellated protozoa. Then the third one is the ciliated protozoa. The name, that is cilia, the thousands of hair-like structures which is present on its body surface, that is called the cilia. So they have the cilia as the locomotory organ, and it shows a vigorous motility. It is very active in its motility, and they are aquatic. And its cell contain a cavity called gullet. Its cell contain a cavity called gullet, and that opens to outside. So from the cell, the opening is there, that opening is called a gullet. Okay, and example is paramecium. Paramecium is an example for the ciliated protozoa, the slipper shaped animal, that is the paramecium. And finally the sporozoans. Sporozoans are given the name because it produces the spores in its infectious stage. So it will produces a spore in its stage, in its infectious stage. A type of spore is produced by the sporozoans. That is why it is given the name sporozoans. And example, it's a malarial parasite. Malarial parasite, that is Plasmodium. Slime molds Plasmodium and malarial parasite Plasmodium, both are different. That is not same. It is an organism, that is an aggregation condition. Okay, that is a stage in favorable condition, but here it is a organism, that is a parasite. Okay, so these are the different groups of protozoans. First one is the amoeboid protozoan. The structure is like that of the amoeba. It's not have a shape, definite shape in amoeba. Then they have the ability to live in fresh water, marine water, and also in moist soil. The marine forms are having silica deposition, and locomotory organ is the pseudopodia. A parasitic form, example, Entamoeba histolytica. Then in the flagellated protozoa, they have the flagella, and they are free living or parasitic. And example for a parasitic stage, that is the trypanosoma, causes the sleeping sickness. The next one is the ciliated protozoa. They are aquatic and have thousands of cilia. Thousands of cilia are present in its body. That is why it shows the vigorous motility, and it has a cavity called a gullet. Gullet എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു opening ഉണ്ട്, that helps the cell to open to outside, and example is paramecium. Then sporozoans. Sporozoans are given the name because it has the spore-like stage. It has an infectious spore-like stage in its life cycle. Example, malarial parasite, that is the Plasmodium. Okay, so these are the different types of protists. So in protists we studied different types of categories. They are chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans. So protozoans are given here, and also we studied about the other categories also. Dear children, today we studied about the kingdom Protista. The 5 different categories of kingdom Protista also we studied, and of which some of them are having cell wall. Its deposition also you should remember, and the last one, it's again divided into 4 groups. That also you should study. Okay, so we shall see the next kingdom, that is Monera, Protista, and the third one is the fungi. The fungi kingdom we can see in the next class. Thank you.